Alright, so this is another fucked up murder. I mean, it seems like this is just too easy. I just Google Kentucky murder and I get all these cases to talk about. And, you know, the media, they salivate over this. And unfortunately, people do pay attention to, people dying more than they do about the politics. But I think it's the politics that's, the politics is broken. All this poverty, all this, insanity, all this crazy bullshit around here. Now, this comes out of Knox County. This was on May the 4th. The story happens a day later, but they were talking about a 29-year-old Shane Mills. He was kind of bushwhacked. It seems like he was targeted, and it was possibly a person that both his brother and his grandmother had seen or talked to. And so there's Shane Mills. He lives on Trace Branch Road in Walker. And just after 9 p.m. on Wednesday night, the police were called to his house on Trace Branch Road. This is Willie B. Mills. They said they killed my son, cold-blooded murder. So Willie B. Mills. And Willie B. Mills says some weird shit. He was talking about, he saw a suspicious man with his son. He said, "What are you doing here?" And then he said, "The guy dropped me off and wasn't supposed to leave me." And so he was sitting there saying that his son had dropped him off, and then he wasn't supposed to leave him, but he was just, sitting and waiting at Shane Mills's house. And then they said that there was 3 shots. Their grandmother calls Shane's phone, and who was a neighbor. So Shane Mills's grandmother calls Shane's phone, and the guy picks up, and the guy says that he's fixing the sink. So this guy, this is brazen. This is insane. This is almost like the Angelina Presley murder, where they just shot her 2 times right in front of her apartment. Goes right up to her, shoots, and then takes off, and then nobody says anything. Nobody sees anything. I mean, this is insane. And so, he was real sad, and he said some good things about Shane. He could fix anything. He could put a new belt. On Wednesday, he put a new belt on the lawnmower. He says that his son was getting his life in order. He says it wasn't about drugs because he didn't have drugs. He would take drugs if you give them to him, but I kept him broke. He didn't have any money. So that's fucking great, old Willie Mills. Willie Mills is keeping Shane Mills is fucking powerless and broke, and if he would take drugs, then perhaps that's exactly what the fuck it was. Maybe he was buying in trade or some shit, or maybe he didn't have the money to pay up his, for whatever drugs that he was able to get. And that's let's see, Kentucky 718. That's the area of Kentucky 718. I guess that's the road in the Walker or DeWitt communities. About 9 to 9:30 Wednesday night. If you've been in the area, maybe you would have seen somebody. You can call the Kentucky State Police and the Harlan Post at 606-570-3131. So, let's see, there's some other things here too. Three shots. He was targeted in his home. They said that he was good to people. He helped others. He was good to children. This happened May 4th. So this happened 8 days ago, 48 hours, right? So it's been way over 48 hours, 6 days over 48 hours. There's 29 years old. And yeah, so that's essentially all the main facts of the case. So R.I.P. Shane Mills. He leaves behind an 8-year-old son, and that's the most tragic part of the whole thing, right? This is murder is when society breaks down. So Shane Mills is going to be 29 forever. He leaves behind this 8-year-old kid who has no father now. And for what? What was the crime? What was the ability to do it? So, a lot of times, it could be just a crime of passion. It could be a crime to rob somebody. But if he has no money, nothing to take, this is somebody that knew him and somebody that for some reason wanted to go after him. And so I believe that they're correct that it was a targeted kill, and the fact that they had seen the person and the guy picks up the phone, like, that's brazen. He shoots the guy, and then they call Shane's phone, and he's like, "Oh, I'm fixing the sink." And so you're fixing the sink? Why do you need gunshots? What the fuck is up with the gunshots? And so, this is Knox County. There's 2 points I want to make. There was one lady that I knew, Kat Roden, out of Knox County, and she had like some sort of case where they didn't have handicap accessibility to the schools, and she fought them, and then, she had endured a lot of bullshit, but then it turns out that she was just as oppressive as anybody else. What's Kat Roden going to do about Shane Mills? She'd be like, "Oh, did that happen? Oh, well, I don't care. I'm going to go about my life." That's bullshit. With all these people, when everybody's talking about it, his buddy, his old man, his grandmother, the idea is you need to do something about it. What what are the police going to do? That's the next thing that I want to say. I'm assuming, and I shouldn't assume, so I'm going to check out who the judge executive is of Knox County. But if it's that same whitehead fucking, twat, you had this one guy. I went down to Knox County and I was just doing the Kentucky 120, and I was just going to highlight all the good things about each one of the counties. And you have this Knox County fucking judge, yeah, J.M. Hall. So all I wanted to be like was like, hey, I'm in Knox County. Here is this J.M. Hall. It's judge executive. I'm talking to him, asking him like what's good about this county. But they were liars. They were stuck up. They were fucking dickheads. And so they made me wait for about 30 minutes. And then they started like, I was bored. So I just started videotaping the courthouse. And I saw in the sheriff's office that they had the 10 Commandments posted on the wall. Now there's a big case in McCreary County versus United States, McCreary County versus the United States, that, versus the Americans, the ACLU. And they had fought that there's no, you need a separation between church and state. And by having the 10 Commandments up in the courthouse, you don't have that separation. And they, the ACLU of Kentucky won that case. So therefore, having 10 Commandments in the courthouse is illegal. So I had videotaped the 10 Commandments in the sheriff's office. And it was just real quick. I just got about 5 seconds of it and, got a close up and then sat back down and was waiting for J.M. Hall to talk to me because the fucking secretary said that she was going to, let me talk to him, but they were just fucking dicks, man. But eventually the cops all confront me, and then they get me to delete that all the footage that I had taken of the courthouse, and even the one that was on my computer. Then they even made sure that it was on the recycle bin, make sure I had deleted that which was in the recycle bin. And so, I mean, that's intimidation and fucking illegal as fuck. And they're defending, like they're criminals. They're not upholding the law. They're not upholding the law. I'll mention 2 other things because this was just something that I was talked about with the dry counties. Knox County is a dry county, so they're still stuck back in the Stone Age. They're a dry county. There's a lot of Confederacy fucking bullshit, so there's racism there. Dry county, racism, and fucking Bible Belt shit. So a bunch of fucking fake Christians not actually giving a damn about the poor. Lots of poor people in Knox County. 25%, 50% of the people in Knox County are poor. And so my point is, for good or ill, the government serves as the omnipotent, omnipresent teacher, and they set the example. So if the J.M. Hall, who is corrupt through and through, he is a corrupt bastard, he's insecure, he has, he couldn't just say, hey, I like Knox County because of the fucking scenery. He couldn't even say that to me. He just wanted to be like, well, what are you doing here? No, I had no ulterior motives. I wouldn't sit by any fucking person, but just the way he acted, and then the way that his cops and the judge executive is the ones that pay the budget for the sheriff and for all the cop departments or whatever. So the way the police had handled it, it was illegal with the making me delete my fucking shit, and it was scary. Of course I was scared. What the fuck else could I do? I was by myself, and they said if I had deleted the thing, they would let me go, and so I went ahead and did it, but I was fucking pretty pissed off about it, and it was actually one of my biggest videos. I think I got like 1,000 or 2,000 hits on that video, because again, I was just trying to highlight Knox County. Here's this thing, it's cool, and then here's the judge executive. He likes the county, but he didn't want to do that. He didn't want to brag about his own county because he's a corrupt piece of shit. He is the top dog in that fucking county, and he is corrupt as fuck. So when you have the government officials who are corrupt as fuck, maybe it was J.M. Hall, maybe it was his police officers, maybe they're the ones that are actually doing it. And, if they're the ones that are actually doing it, you think you're going to find who actually killed Shane Mills? Maybe they're the one that had contracted the guy out. The guy seemed pretty brazen, where the guy's just standing around his yard. The guy, he picks up the fucking phone. Wouldn't there be fingerprints on the fucking phone? But if it's J.M. Hall's men, then, they went ahead and covered up the fucking fingerprints, and now the whole case is dead. I mean, it's fucking 8 days ago. So after 48 hours, right? You got 48 hours, so it's been 8 days after 48 hours. Or no, it's been 6 days after 48 hours. So 6 days, I mean, that's the case is cold. Do they have any leads? Does anybody know anything? What's going to happen to Shane Mills? What's going to happen to his 8-year-old son? And his dad, what an asshole. I kept him broke so he wouldn't do them damn drugs. Well, you fucking piece of shit. You're the oppressor. You know, maybe he was trying to do right in his eyes, but apparently, you know, there was some sort of negotiation, some kind of deal. I would like to think that it's not drugs. I would like to think that perhaps the guy just insulted him, right? Maybe it was road rage. Maybe he was driving and the guy saw him and he cut him off and he's real pissed off. And so he's like, oh, I'm going to get you. And he comes to his house and he does some shit like that. You know, it's clearly a murder. Wanton murder. Murder's the worst thing that could ever happen. 29-year-old Shane Mills to the earth. Say Shane Mills as many times as you can. This is a problem. This insanity happens all throughout Kentucky. So Shane Mills, R.I.P. Shane Mills, you know, his 8-year-old son, I hope his 8-year-old son does well. Let's see what else. We need to memorize Shane Mills. He seems like a really good guy, real fun, real jovial, and, you know, wouldn't harm a fly. Seems like a real fucking good guy, a real good dude. But he's powerless. And so what the fuck could he do when somebody else, he's being manipulated by the old man, now he's being manipulated by this man, and if he had power, if he had money, if he had options, then perhaps he wouldn't be, you know, hanging out in the gutter with some notorious characters. So let's memorize Shane Mills. He was good. He was nice. He could fix anything. He put the new belt on the lawnmower. He liked, you know, helping children, helping people. He was good to people. A good man. A good man fucking died. And is that what Knox County is about? Come on down to Knox County so good people can fucking get shot. I didn't feel safe in Knox County. I didn't feel safe around them fucking public officials, and all I wanted was just, hey, look, I'm talking to the judge, and this is the man, you know, in the county. But if you're fucking corrupt through and through, yeah, you would be nervous if somebody like me be like, why? Why are you here? No, there's something here. There's got to be something there. There's an angle here. There's some kind of, no, there's no angle whatsoever. I could just do a selfie. Hey, look, I'm with this guy. He's here. Hey, what your J.M. Hall, right? What's Knox County? Like Knox County? What do you like about it? I like, there's a fucking university there. I like the university. I like the public school system. I like this or that. I mean, the creeks, the streams, the scenery. What the fuck? You could have mentioned any fucking thing, J.M. Hall, but you couldn't do it because you're a corrupt fucking bastard. And now I lay Shane Mills' fucking body at your feet. You're a corrupt piece of shit. You're not a good man. You're not a good person. You were not good to this good man. So, did you do something to Shane Mills, J.M. Hall? And if you didn't, maybe you should actually get the real fucking killer. Maybe you should put this as priority number 1. So justice is the most important thing, but if we don't get justice, then it's knowing his legacy. Don't let Shane Mills die forever. His 8-year-old son is alive. He knows him well. He will always remember his father. And so, you know, get the pictures, get the audio, get the video, get all the things that you can and save on to it. I would say put it online so it stays out there in perpetuity. So that way the 8-year-old can always, you know, review, this is who my father was. My father was a good man, and that wasn't good enough. And not just for that, but just so he knows who his father is. He knows his soul. He knows his essence. This is a horrible end to, this is a tragic end. Nobody wants a violent end. That's actually what Edmund Burke who fought against the French Revolution, he says that essentially what men do is to, everything that they do is to prevent themselves from having a violent death. And this was a violent death. So there is a problem. And we need to find out what the problem is and what are the solutions to that problem. And, you know, get justice. That's the most important thing. But, you know, to the earth, every time you say Shane Mills, he's still alive. So, Shane Mills, Shane Mills, Shane Mills. R.I.P. Shane Mills out of Knox County. R.I.P. man. I don't know you. I don't know what happened. 29 years old. Your life is cut short. And for what? Because you're surrounded by citizens like Cat Roden who don't give a shit. And because you have a judge executive who's corrupt as fuck, they set the example. And if corruption is the norm, and, you know, doing whatever the fuck they say is the norm, then I would assume that, you know, if the leaders are corrupt, then the people's going to be corrupt too, because that's their leaders. That's who's showing them how to behave. So, one last time, R.I.P. Shane Mills.